I don't know how many of you will remember or even know about, depending on your age. It was a song, I think it was either the 1960s or maybe early 1970s, by Peggy Lee. And the title of the song was, "Is That All There Is?" And the theme of it was, if that's all I can find in my life, then let's, just have a good time, and that's about it. I'm not expecting much more. Well, the truth is, there is so much more than we ever imagined. There is so much more to look forward to. And that brings us around to reincarnation. Did you know that if you don't believe in reincarnation, that in the world you're in the minority? That the majority of people do? And it kind of makes sense a little bit when you think about the law of cause and effect. Think about the fact that a child is born, and let's say one child is born into a very wealthy situation, another into abject poverty. And if there isn't a cause for this, if there isn't a cause in like a past life of some type, the child that gets born into abject poverty, that's really kind of unfair, isn't it? There really couldn't be too much justice in the world if that were to happen. So there's got to be reasons, and most likely the reasons are something that went on in a past life, and something that person has to learn during the course of this life. Now, we don't remember our past lives, and the reason we don't is because we wouldn't really react to a situation from a very honest spiritual level. And by that I mean this, that, there was a story of a man who said, a very wealthy man who said, I'm going to see what it's like to be poor. So he put aside all of his money, he went out for 30 days, and he tried to see what it was like to be poor. Well, the truth of the matter is, he really couldn't see what it was like to be poor, because he always knew that he could go back to that wealth that he had had previously. But when you don't remember, okay, you can react honestly to the situations that you come into contact with. And this is how you grow spiritually. In other words, if you, for an example, in one particular life were prejudiced in some way, the next life you may find that prejudice directed at you. It's never a punishment, and I don't want to give that impression. There are no punishments involved with this, okay? There is only a learning process. And by that I mean, when you have the prejudice directed at you, at a very deep spiritual level, you go, oh, now I see. Now I understand what I did when I was prejudicial towards this other person. This is how I made them feel. Now, you don't feel that consciously or are aware of that consciously. But at a very deep spiritual level, that's really what happens. That's what goes on. Reincarnation is part of the evolutionary process. You're going to get tired of hearing me talk about correspondence and that law that everything is manifested in the same way. But I have to bring it up again, because take a look at what we know goes on physically with the law or the theory of evolution. Now, we call it a theory of evolution, but, let me say this. There is such strong evidence about it, and evidence from all over the place, that I would kind of go with it and say it's almost a law of evolution. And I want to mention this also, that no way does evolution have to do away with the idea that it was created by a higher intelligence. The two do not necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. But here's how it works. We come back, we grow. Each time, and I love the reference I read at one time which said, you're given an opportunity to make better choices. You made a mistake last time. Here's a chance to make up for it, okay? And to choose a better pathway. So it's all part of that evolutionary process. And when I say we have a long way to go and so much more to look forward to, what I mean is evolution is not a matter of what goes on here and no longer on the other side. That evolutionary process keeps going on and on and on, even when we don't have to come back to this plane of existence. We will move up and up and up in the chain of existence for eons upon eons of time. And we will explore everything in this universe. It's almost like that infinite intelligence that created it said, here are these beings, and my love for them is eternal and infinite. What can I give them? I'm not limited in what I can do. What can I give them? How about everything? Now, you may say, well, there's a lot of suffering that goes on. Yeah, there is. But we come through it, and an awful lot of times when you are involved with that type of situation, you leave this existence stronger when you overcome it, or that you deal with it. And again, that's also a part of evolution and the reincarnation process. The town that I live in has a swimming pool, and during the summer, adults, children go there, and there's a time where children have to get out of the pool so the adults can swim. So I went, and I noticed this little girl by the ladder in the pool, and she was absolutely vivacious and absolutely was the most, the prettiest girl there and the happiest. She was enjoying herself to no end. They blew the whistle for the kids to get out of the pool, and lo and behold, she grabbed the ladder, pulled herself up, and she had no legs at all. She just stopped at the hips. Now, that child had a choice. She could moan and bemoan her existence for the rest of her life, or she could say, let's go on, and let's just do the best we can with what we have. It's not an easy thing to do, and I don't want to make it sound like that. But believe me, that little girl will leave this existence much, much stronger spiritually than probably most of us. Again, in summation, we have so much to look forward to. We are going to see and do and be involved in miraculous things in the millions of years that are ahead of us. There is so much more to look forward to than we ever dared to dream about. But it's something that we should consider. And it should, I hope, have a very positive effect on the decisions that you make now. Because you're either going to accelerate that process or you're going to put it in neutral. Hopefully you're not going to make it go in another direction. I'm going to put in some video or some links that are going to take you to a couple of sites where you can explore reincarnation. There's one site by Dr. Stevenson, who is a clinical psychologist, our psychiatrist, who has, through hypnotic regressions, uncovered a lot of people who have become aware of past lives through hypnosis. And there is so much evidence like this. It's worth exploring and to see what really is going on in terms of discovering past lives. So I hope you enjoy those too.